The North Bay School District, with a history of violence, promised to bring back police officers to campus, but now they say they can't afford it.
We've already had a horrible death in our district. What else is it going to take?
Why the police department says its hands are tied. Plus, brush fires burning from the North Bay down to the Central Coast. A look at how dangerous the conditions could get in your neighborhood. And there's a mad dash to install eco-friendly water heaters across San Francisco.
The future is coming. We're going electric.
The only problem? Not enough people to install them.
With anything, there's a little learning curve.
How contractors are teaming up with the city to get the training they need. And later, it's a sort of living relic that's suddenly seeing new interest.
There's been many, many moments where I thought I wouldn't survive it.
We'll introduce you to the owner of San Francisco's last video store.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Hi, I'm Sarah Donchi, in today for Juliette. The new school year is almost here in Santa Rosa, and some parents are worried that their kids won't actually be safe when they get there. The city and the school district recently formed a partnership to bring back police officers on some campuses in response to violence. But now both sides say they just don't have the money to do it. In June, the city of Santa Rosa approved more than $11 million in cuts as part of this year's budget. It still faces a long-term deficit of $45 million. John Ramos spoke with a parent who says city and school leaders are going back on their word.
It's been 5 years since Santa Rosa schools got rid of their on-campus officers, but then a series of violent events, including one death, caused the district to have a change of heart. Now, even though there appears to be the will to bring the officers back, financially speaking, there doesn't seem to be a way to do it. When students return to Montgomery High in a couple weeks, it may feel like business as usual when it comes to safety. But in her welcome back message to the public, Superintendent Lisa August delivered the good news.
And in partnership with the City of Santa Rosa, we're grateful for the recent unanimous vote by the City Council supporting a new memorandum of understanding to bring school resource officers back to our campuses.
But what's missing from that understanding was any way to pay for it. The program was supposed to train 5 school resource officers, or SROs, to be assigned to the city's high schools. It came after a violent year in the schools that culminated with the stabbing death of 16-year-old Jaden Pienta at Montgomery High. Heather Gruenbaum is a district parent and member of a group called the Safe Campus Alliance, which was formed after Jaden's killing to push for SROs in the schools.
This was a program that was in place since 1996. It had been a long-term successful program. We hadn't had as much violence. The violence since 2020, since kids came back to school in 2021, has just skyrocketed in our school district, and that's not okay.
The SRO program ended in 2020 when some school board members objected to having law enforcement of any kind on campus for equity reasons.
I think the district finally had a situation where their board was prioritizing a more broad range view rather than an activist situation. And the school district needs to advocate for the entire student body, the maximum amount of people that it's going to be helping.
But the district has such a budget problem now that it's going to start sending 7th and 8th graders to the high schools. And the city says it also has a huge deficit and can't afford to pay the estimated $1.7 million for officers for the schools.
In this last budget cycle, we experienced more than $3 million in cuts of our own, and that's before we even have this program in place. We lost 15 staff positions due to this budget cut.
And Sergeant Patricia Seffens says it may be a while until the police department can supply the schools with SROs.
We're looking at, 5 years or longer before all of that gets resolved.
It is really disheartening to hear that for 5 years. That's not right. We need to move this forward. We need to make sure that this is a priority. Why? Just why? It's not really that much money. I think that they could handle this. So.
Gruenbaum says other, smaller communities in the county seem to be able to afford an SRO program, and she feels that the money would be there if the district hadn't ended the program back in 2020. As a result, it's being viewed as a new expense that neither the city or the schools can afford.
So John mentioned the district decided to close a number of schools because of the deficit. In all, 6 schools got the axe. 2 middle schools and 2 elementary schools shut down this summer. Another middle school and 1 more elementary school will shut down after this upcoming school year. We are keeping an eye on brush fires burning around the state right now. A brief scare up in wine country. A fire in St. Helena burned about 5 acres this afternoon before firefighters stopped it. This time-lapse video shows some of the smoke that it was putting out. It broke out just after 3:30 south of Lake Hennessy near the Brand Napa Valley Winery on Long Ranch Road. There were no evacuation orders or warnings associated with this fire. CAL FIRE is looking into reports that it might have actually started from the winery's solar panels. Even further north, evacuation orders were lifted in Clear Lake as crews made progress on the lake fire. This one broke out just before 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and it quickly grew to more than 400 acres. Firefighters were dealing with low humidity and gusty winds at the time. At last update, the fire as of now is 40% contained. And on the Central Coast, the Gifford fire exploded over the weekend. It's now the largest fire in the state, burning over 65,000 acres in the Los Padres National Forest. Multiple parts of San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties are currently under evacuation orders. At least 3 people have been hurt. One rancher in San Luis Obispo County was helping his cousin evacuate his cattle this morning, and he says that they've already lost part of the herd.
You can see they got caught in a firestorm, and 2 were actually tangled in the barbed wire, and a cow and a calf, I guess this, no air, they died, and the cow over here burned up, so we probably got to put her down.
Awful. The CAL FIRE says the Gifford fire right now is about 5% contained for some context. Back here at home, we've got dry, breezy conditions, and we do have a warm up on the way. Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan is here. And Paul, this is something that we should be concerned about?
For the time of year, it's not going to be an off-the-charts kind of threat over the next couple of days. The breezy conditions yesterday and today have had our full attention, but while the winds have been blustery, gusting in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range, you're looking at the relative humidity levels along with the wind speeds, and those have not been critically low. Fire danger is always something we have to monitor this time of year, but the lowest humidity levels far inland around Antioch and Brentwood, Fairfield, and then far inland in the North Bay have been bottoming out in the 20 to 25% range, and that could be a whole lot worse. And what could also be a whole lot worse is the dryness of the fire fuels. The cool, relatively damp pattern that we have been in over the past couple of weeks has helped to add at least some moisture to those fire fuels. So there's a statistic called energy release component that just measures basically the readiness of those fire fuels to go once a spark gets going. But right now we're in that green shaded area, which is about the best we can hope for this time of year. The blue line tracks where we have been so far in 2025. The red line tracks record territory. And as you go up the chart, it just means things are drier and drier. That is where we're going to be going with hotter temperatures in store as we head through the next couple of days. But again, far from kind of the worst that we can see this time of year. Still something that we do have to watch on a day-by-day basis in August and September and even into October around the Bay Area.
All right, Paul, absolutely. Thank you so much. A heads up for anyone who drives through the city of San Francisco. This is important because starting tomorrow, the city is going to start handing out tickets for people who are speeding and who are caught by these new speed cameras that they installed. The cameras started going up in March, as we've reported on extensively, but until now, they were only giving out warnings. Now, here is a look at where those 33 cameras are located. Some of them in intersections designated the most dangerous, where there are a lot of crashes or a lot of issues. A few of them are concentrated in Soma, as you can see there. In 2 months of data since the cameras were activated, the city has already seen a drop in speeding incidents, they say, at multiple intersections. And drivers who were caught appear to be adjusting their behavior.
In more than 70% of cases where a vehicle got an initial warning, that they did not receive a warning after that. And I'm optimistic that, frankly, we're not going to be issuing that many citations.
City officials say that after tomorrow, the first citation will be on the house, but a second warning after that could cost between $50 and $500, and the cost will depend on how fast you are caught driving. A martial arts gym in San Jose now needs to rebuild after a car rammed right into it. You can see the entire side of the building was destroyed. Brick, wood, and glass are all over the place on the ground. This happened on Park Avenue yesterday afternoon. Police say the suspected driver crashed with another car before driving right through the gym. One instructor saw the whole thing happen.
Our building is right on the corner of a busy intersection, and I guess there was an accident. 2 cars hit each other right here at this light. One of them lost control and smashed through our whole building.
The suspect took off before police could get there. Luckily, nobody got hurt, and the crash didn't cause any structural damage. The gym is still open, and it seems like the staff are mostly able to laugh it off.
Yeah, I would just say when you're out here in jiu-jitsu class, don't worry. Chances are you're not going to get hit by a car, but the chances aren't zero.
San Francisco home and business owners are rushing into a different kind of renovation. They're replacing gas water heaters with high-powered electric ones. The demand comes from a mix of incentives, from financial to environmental. But either way, there are not enough contractors who are trained to install them. Max Darrow looks at the efforts to change that.
Hey, Benny, how are you doing today?
Randy Williamson really enjoys being a contractor. He's able to make a good living while helping others improve the way they live.
It's very rewarding.
And on this day, he's helping this San Francisco homeowner step into a greener future, environmentally speaking and financially speaking.
The new one is so much more energy efficient.
He's removing their gas-powered water heater and replacing it with an electric heat pump water heater.
Gas water heater is definitely going out.
Not just out of style, but out of circulation in the region, as the Bay Area moves away from gas-powered appliances in an effort to reduce emissions. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District banned the sale and installation of gas-powered water heaters beginning in 2027. The San Francisco Environment Department is trying to incentivize homeowners to make the switch, even offering free installs for qualifying residents. But the transition also requires manpower, and that requires contractors to learn new skills.
With anything, there's a little learning curve.
Williamson recently attended one of the city's new trainings and seminars for contractors to get them up to speed on the newer appliances. The latest one was fully booked, with 80 people there, and Environment Director Tyrone Jew says interest from contractors only continues to grow.
The future is coming. We're going electric, and we need all of our contractors ready for this amazing amount of work that's going to happen during this transition.
Jew says San Francisco is 48% of the way towards its goal of reaching net zero emissions by 2040. Almost half of the city's emissions come from buildings using gas appliances. Jew says phasing in heat pump water heaters will make a difference in the big picture and for individual consumers.
You get the safety, the reliability, the health impacts, and the economic impacts. And this is what we want to educate everyone, from the public to our contractors to our own city leadership.
That said,
we have to make this more accessible to people in terms of incentives.
From the contractor perspective, this marked install number 7 for Randy. He has 3 more on the books in the near future.
There's definitely not enough installers. So that would be a great boost to help get this done.
He says there is an opportunity right now for a new avenue of work. And he says it's worth it from a business and personal perspective.
Good for the community, it's good for the environment, it's good for the consumer. Good for the planet.
One man doing his part to help his community. Hopeful others will follow his lead.
Well, the city's environmental department will host another contractor workshop on October 29th. If you're interested in learning more about how to qualify for a free or reduced rate heat pump water heater, head to SF Environment Department's website for a full breakdown of that. Still ahead here at 6, a bygone era of entertainment could suddenly be poised for a comeback. How a generation raised on the internet could be saving San Francisco's last video store. And later, I don't think this is what the founding fathers meant by the right to bear arms. How this surveillance video landed 4 people in front of a judge for alleged insurance fraud. A popular corridor in downtown San Jose has gotten a lot more colorful. Murals have been added to Santa Clara Street, including one honoring Olympians Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Both were San Jose State athletes who famously raised their fists at the 1968 Summer Olympics to protest racial discrimination. The city also gave the popular convenience store Axe Square a vibrant makeover. And at night, the street will come to life with colorful lights, all part of a nearly $800,000 project ahead of major sports events that are happening in the South Bay.
And with major events like Super Bowl 60 and the World Cup coming into town next year, a major investment in our downtown really couldn't come at a better time. But we all know that our residents deserve a downtown that is safe and beautiful and engaging 365 days a year, not just when we have out-of-town guests.
This project is part of the city's Stitch Districts initiative to connect downtown neighborhoods by creating public spaces. Some businesses have to work a little harder to keep their doors open, but the last surviving video rental store in San Francisco has found some creative ways to stay in business and draw in a new generation of customers. Itai Hod takes us inside.
In a world ruled by algorithms and autoplay, one small store in San Francisco still does things by hand. No streaming, no logins, just rows and rows of DVDs, and a local crowd keeping movie night alive.
Did you ever imagine when you opened this store that you'd be the last one standing?
No.
Colin Hutton is the owner of Video Wave, believed to be the last remaining video store in San Francisco. For years, he thought the final credits were about to roll.
There's been many, many moments where I thought I wouldn't survive it.
The trouble started around 2008, when streaming took over and video stores began to fade to black. But then, something unexpected happened. Customers started to return, including a whole new generation just discovering the joy of coming attractions.
Is it the tactile thing?
It's a tactile thing.
23-year-old Caitlin Zephyr says there's something refreshing about slowing down and hitting pause.
When it comes to things that are streaming on on your phone, it feels like everything's demanding your attention right away. And like these other things, there's a step removed from that.
Believe it or not, DVDs are having a moment. Not quite a blockbuster comeback, more of a cult classic rewind. While overall DVD sales dropped last year, 4K editions jumped 10% and collector versions climbed 25%. Lucas Hildebrand, chair of film and media studies at UC Irvine, says for Gen Z, part of the appeal isn't just the films, it's the boxes, the artwork, even the act of browsing.
I think there's also this hunger for people who grew up with social media and who grew up with the internet to actually have in-person interactions.
What's your last name?
Ironically, the store's future may depend on the very thing that nearly destroyed it, a subscription model.
If I had 150 more subscribers, that would be the difference between not making it and making it.
And if enough people sign up, Video Wave might just avoid the final cut.
Thanks very much.
Colin tells us Video Wave has about 550 subscribers, which is just enough to break even. An invasive and destructive fruit fly has been eradicated from Alameda County. The California Department of Food and Agriculture has ended the quarantine caused by the Mediterranean fruit fly, also known as the medfly. This is the map highlighting the quarantine area around Fremont. Officials put that in place when the medfly was discovered last September. So how did they get rid of them? The CFDA released sterile male medflies to mate with the females so that they could not reproduce. And not just a few, they released 250,000 sterile males per square mile per week. And we did a little math based on the quarantine zone. That's more than 53 million sterile flies released each week. Officials also used an organic formula to eliminate any mated females in the area. Because the flies target more than 250 kinds of fruits and vegetables, they can devastate California's agriculture. Coming up, summer weather finally headed our way. Paul Hagen is back with a full forecast. Oh, the weekend is
gone.
It's gone. It's come and gone once again.
Just talking about that in the commercial break.
Yeah.
We're
it's
both
Monday.
dressed in black and
We're
gray.
mourning the loss of the weekend.
Mourning the loss of the weekend. But every week is a new challenge, right?
It is a new challenge. And I think we're going to finally feel like summer, right?
Right. After a really cool month of July, now we're kind of transitioning into a warmer pattern, especially later this week. Let's get into what you need to know as we head through this first full week of August as we look up from Black Mountain towards the Santa Clara Valley. We are going to see the fog returning to the coast later tonight, but you're clear even at the coast. We'll check that perspective momentarily for the rest of this evening. And then later tonight, that fog starts to build back in. High temperatures near average for most of the Bay Area on Tuesday, and then the inland heat begins to build back in on Wednesday. But even as temperatures warm up, there's still no extreme heat in sight. I think the worst that we're going to see is the moderate heat risk category. Looking outside from the Mark Hopkins Hotel, clear as a bell, blue skies over downtown San Francisco, where the temperature is only 62. So we still have the marine influence, even if we don't have the fog and clouds. 66 degrees across the bay in Oakland. Inland, it's a mix of 70s and 80s. Still 88 degrees in Santa Rosa, where you climbed all the way up to 93 degrees for a high temperature earlier today. Now, the fog is going to return, as I mentioned. Let's take a look at that on Futurecast. And it'll take a little while, really not reforming along the coast until after midnight. But we'll see it trying to push through the Golden Gate and maybe towards the East Bay Hills. That's about as far as it's going to make it. And once the sun comes up, that little bit of inland fog is not going to last long, retreating to the coast as we head towards mid-morning, and temperatures are going to warm up to within a degree or two of what is normal for this time of year. So we get a couple days to at least adjust to the warmer temperatures before the heat starts to build in. High temperatures in the Santa Clara Valley, close to 80 in San Jose, into the 80s in Los Gatos and Morgan Hill, mostly 80s east of the Oakland Hills, even up to around 90 degrees near Antioch and Brentwood. It'll be a mix of 60s and 70s around the bay and even close to 80 degrees down the peninsula in Redwood City. Still 60s at the coast with a mix of 70s and 80s for most of the North Bay until you go farther inland where temperatures are more likely to reach up to the low 90s by tomorrow afternoon. Take a look at the dog walking forecast for tomorrow, and we have one of the more stylish pups that we have ever featured in the dog walking forecast. This is Cody from Concord, and those shades will likely come in handy tomorrow afternoon as temperatures reach up into the mid-80s. Your dog doesn't have to be as stylish as Cody to be featured in the dog walking forecast. If your pup hasn't been on the forecast yet, you can send me an email with a picture attached, and please include your name and where you live, and we'll get you on the schedule later on this summer. Temperatures are going to build. This is the heat risk map for tomorrow, and you see just a few patches of it here and there. It's likely to kind of hover in that category as we head towards midweek on Wednesday, and then farther down the line, we're actually going to be seeing the heat risk retreating back to closer to the low category as we head through the upcoming weekend and into next week. Fire danger index, it was elevated today, but only about halfway up our 0 to 10 scale because of those gusty winds, but they were onshore winds. That could be a lot worse. With lighter winds tomorrow, the fire danger is actually going to be even lower, less than halfway up that 0 to 10 scale. And a similar story once again on Wednesday. So it's something we always have to monitor this time of year, but it's just not likely to be a major concern on a widespread basis over the next couple of days, even as the temperatures do build. More 90s than anything else for inland parts of the Bay Area on Wednesday, retreating slightly on Thursday, and then it's back to the 90s for Friday and Saturday. Those temperatures are going to warm up near the bay as well, with highs reaching a little farther into the 70s. It's a more modest warm up bayside, but still it's noticeable, and then back to near normal temperatures by early next week. And along the coast, while you're not going to warm up a lot, what you are going to see is more sunshine peeking through, especially by the end of this week and into the second weekend of August. Sarah?
All right, Paul, thanks. When we come back, what we're learning about this bizarre video the prosecutors say is all about committing insurance fraud. Home sweet home for the Valkyries. Golden State is back at Chase Center Wednesday night after a 5-game road trip. You can watch them take on the Las Vegas Aces on our sister station PIX Plus. Coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Channel 44, Cable 12. A hairy insurance fraud scheme had its day in court this morning. 4 people were arrested in November after claiming a bear damaged their cars. But investigators say otherwise. The defendants faced a judge in a preliminary hearing in San Bernardino County today. 3 men and 1 woman waived their rights to a speedy hearing and are out on bail. The investigation started after an insurance company suspected fraud. The suspects submitted claims to their insurance providers, but it was later determined that what they claimed was a bear in this grainy video was someone in a costume pretending to be a bear. Investigators found the costume at one of the defendants' homes. Detectives also found 2 more claims with different companies for the same incident. The CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. I'll see you at 7.